Hey there, and welcome to this explainer. Let's just jump right in and kick things off with a pretty massive question, one that sits at the absolute heart of how we think about education today. Is a standard syllabus truly enough for success? I mean, for generations, the formula has been pretty straightforward, right? We send students to school, they survive on mystery dorm food, memorize their textbooks, and take their tests. But when they actually step out into the complexities of the real world, does that traditional academic focus really prepare them for what comes next? We're beginning to see that while the syllabus is definitely important, it's kind of just one piece of a much larger puzzle. To truly thrive out there, students need something way more comprehensive.
Okay, let's dive into this. Today, we're unpacking a genuinely fascinating framework that aims to provide exactly that missing piece. It's called Yancha, and honestly, it represents a massive shift in educational philosophy. Rather than just tagging on some extra homework to a standard curriculum, Yancha introduces a completely holistic solution. It's designed to bridge the gap between traditional schooling and actual real-world readiness. So today, we're going to unpack exactly how this ecosystem is built to transform not just the student, but the entire educational environment around them. And this completely nails the core contrast we need to understand. Think about the traditional setup for a second. The standard school campus, the typical school dorms. This environment usually prioritizes strict standard academics, test scores, and institutional rankings above basically everything else. But the beyond syllabus approach, which is realized through Yancha Labs, fundamentally moves the goalposts. It shifts the focus toward holistic life skills and continuous personal evolution. It's not about abandoning the campus at all. It's more like upgrading the software that runs on it, if that makes sense. To really get how this works, we've got to look at the foundational philosophy driving the whole thing. Wrapped right around that central emblem is a four-step mantra: observe, understand, engage, evolve. Now, this isn't just some catchy marketing tagline. It's literally the overarching blueprint of the entire Yancha ecosystem. It tells us that learning isn't passive. A student has to first observe their environment and themselves, deeply understand those observations, actively engage with the challenges they face, and ultimately evolve. It really assures us that we're looking at a deeply structured psychological framework here, not just a random collection of after-school clubs.
Section 1. Elevating Educational Institutions.
So let's zoom out for a second and look at the macro-level stakeholder perspective to see how schools themselves benefit from adopting this model. The crucial point to remember is that a thriving student body creates a thriving institution. By implementing Yancha, schools can go way beyond merely chasing those arbitrary rankings. Just notice the active energy driving this framework. Institutions literally attract students with ease because they're offering a truly differentiated, value-driven experience. They create a highly engaged learning environment where kids actually want to be. This naturally leads them to become an esteemed institution. And the long-term ripple effects? Absolutely incredible. Schools will build a strong alumni network, attract excellent teachers who are desperate to work in an evolved environment, and ultimately be deeply respected by parents who are seeing tangible growth in their kids.
Section 2. Empowering Student Potential. Okay, so we know how the schools benefit, right? But what does this mean for the student on the ground? Now, what's really interesting about this slide is the perfect balance it shows between two totally distinct types of student growth. Over on the academic side, Yancha focuses on helping students learn how to learn, which is an absolutely critical meta skill. It pushes them to develop beyond academics and really inculcate success behaviors. But here's the thing, learning techniques alone just aren't enough without self-discovery. That is exactly where the focus on personal evolution comes in. Students are guided to know strengths and interests, actively evolve yourself, and ultimately work towards achieving potential. It's basically a dual-engine approach to student development. Section 3, Inside Yancha Labs. All right, it's time to actually open the hood of this framework and explore the actionable tools provided inside Yancha Labs. Imagine a student walking in on day 1. Step 1 begins with a self-assessment survey because, well, before you know where you're going, you absolutely have to know where you're starting, right? Then we move to step 2, which is a rigorous set of 26 structured lessons specifically designed for life skills and capability development. This right here is the heavy lifting. It's the actual curriculum of personal growth. Finally, as the student matures, they hit step 3, career choice and startup guidance. This takes all that hard-earned self-knowledge and skill building and applies it directly to their real-world future. But smack in the middle of this ecosystem is something pretty wild. Included in the Yancha Labs features is something called the Yancha Game, Eighth Wonder. It's a fantastic, super intriguing name, isn't it? This really highlights the innovative, interactive core of the Yancha experience. Instead of just lecturing students on life skills until they're bored to tears, they're engaging with a specialized game designed to act as this eighth wonder of their educational journey. It's a real game changer of a tool that distinctly sets the Yancha framework apart from the dry, traditional methods of education we are all so used to. And the tool set doesn't just stop there. Yancha Labs surrounds the student with a deeply supportive ecosystem. Notice the really strong focus on emotional intelligence here. They provide simulations to overcome self-doubt and fears. Just think about modern teenage psychology for a second. Today's students face completely unprecedented anxiety and academic pressure, making these simulations an absolute vital necessity rather than just some nice-to-have bonus feature. The framework also focuses heavily on cultivating meaningful friendships, ensuring that social development isn't just left up to chance. To guide all of this, students have access to Yancha pathways and expert Yancha guides. And importantly, it loops the whole family back in through deliberate parental engagement. The whole shebang is a true 360-degree support system.
Section 4. Forging Pathways to Success. Let's bring this whole thing together and look at the long-term outcomes and the continuous resources available to these students. This quote, taken directly from the source material, basically acts as the ultimate promise of the framework. Yancha, always there with tools to evolve students. Go through a repository of simulations, tools, surveys, videos to develop yourself and forge your own pathway to success. This really highlights that Yancha isn't just a one-and-done workshop. It's a continuous, highly accessible repository. Whether they need a simulation, a survey, or a video, the tools are always ready for them to access through their dedicated online portals.
So we've seen how going beyond the traditional syllabus can just completely transform both a school's environment and a student's personal evolution. By combining academic learning with deep emotional and practical life skills, the Yancha framework genuinely offers a comprehensive roadmap for the future. So I'm going to leave you with this final thought. When traditional academics are no longer the sole benchmark for making it in the world, and you have these holistic tools at your disposal, how will you forge your own pathway to success? Thanks so much for joining me on this explainer, and keep observing, understanding, engaging, and evolving.